You're probably thinking this was a superhero movie, but that guy in the suit just turned that other guy into a kebab.
Welcome to IAYTD and welcome to my review of Deadpool. So I've got two reviews up. I've got a spoiler-free version, which is what you're watching right now. Then I have a spoiler discussion, which you can also click down in the description to see if you've seen the movie and want to talk about everything that happened. So I just saw the movie. It's like 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. So I'm super tired, but let's dive into Deadpool. So what you want to know first is, was it good? Did I like it? Did it live up to expectations? And the answer is yes. And I knew it would because a lot of other reviewers have put out stuff. People seem to really like it. So I wasn't too worried, but I was almost worried that I was overhyping it at this point, that everyone liked it. It has a really high Rotten Tomatoes score. So could it live up to all that hype? And it did. It wasn't a fantastic movie. I'm not going to give it a perfect score, but it was a nearly perfect Deadpool movie. It's what we wanted. Ryan Reynolds is Wade Wilson. It's perfect. He is funny. He's charming when he needs to be. The action is incredible. It's just the embodiment of one of the weirdest characters in Marvel Comics. To be able to pull off this sort of fourth wall breaking meta humor mixed with the world of the X-Men, it somehow works. A big factor going in for me was I was concerned about Colossus, because Colossus is one of my favorite Marvel heroes, and he was really underserved in the X-Men films. And so I was like, could they do it right? Is he just going to be the butt of jokes? And it actually is amazing. He's kind of this goody two-shoes. He is the butt of a lot of jokes, but he is the Colossus that he should have been in the other movies. And there's a couple action scenes that are badass with him. It's awesome. And his partner, or I guess mentee, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, is hilarious and awesome and a really odd pick, but perfect for what they needed her to be in this movie. The only downside, the heroes were great, the villains were flat, which is true in a lot of comic book movies, so it wasn't a huge surprise, but just uninspired. Like, I still don't really know why the main villain, Ajax, why he was doing what he was doing. You know, in my spoiler discussion, we'll talk more about it, but it was kind of like, why is this happening? Gina Carano is kind of his kind of hench person, you know, bodyguard kind of figure. Why is she doing that? Like, why are these things happening? Not really sure, but it worked enough. It worked enough to give us good fight scenes, a plot that was interesting, and yeah, it worked. So the goods, Ryan Reynolds, the humor, the action, the supporting cast, great, hilarious. The downsides, the villains, it's a little predictable. It's a pretty standard origin story plot. You kind of know where it's going to go. And some of the humor does tend to go for the obvious, crude, amateurish, young jokes, right? The stuff that we said this word, we're going to make you laugh. And it was kind of like, oh, we could have been a little more clever here. And a lot of the humor is really great, but some just was, oh, that's the best you got. But otherwise, I'm going with 4 out of 5 for Deadpool. I loved it. It is not for kids. There's a lot of you that might have kids and say, oh, it's a superhero movie, let's take them. But this is not a superhero movie that you take kids to. This is rated R for a lot of reasons. This is an adult movie. But as long as you're an adult, you should love this, as long as you know that it is crude and there's a lot of language and violence and sex, and you're okay with all those things. Also, there are after the credit scenes all the way at the very end, so do not leave until the lights come up. You're welcome. So that is it for my spoiler-free review. That's the basics, but down in the description, click on the link where we can talk freely about everything that happened. Thanks for watching.
Besides, nobody's getting hurt.
That guy was up there before we got here.